Hey guys, welcome back. I got a message from somebody and I thought I would do a video response to that. It's in regards to some recent videos, social media attention that has come out where somebody was questioning the effectiveness of the Bujinkan. People have been asking this for a long time, but this guy came out with a video and he's a martial artist. And he made this video based on some YouTube research that he did and some other online research. And he made a case that the Bujinkan is not effective. Um, I'm not going to put him down or criticize him in any way. I'm sure he's a great guy. He looks like a competent martial artist. Um, so I'm not being critical of him in any way. But this is something that I think is interesting to discuss. Um, I think it's something that is healthy, that everybody from every martial art should always ask, how effective is the art that I'm in? But this message that he sent me, he said, "Hey Darren, love the videos. Just wanted to drop a quick message about this recent video coming out where this guy is being critical of Bujinkan, comparing its effectiveness to the effectiveness of MMA and etc. And he wants to know my take on it. He says, I know you have a background in other arts, and you also have a background in military and law enforcement and some real world experiences. How have you found the Bujinkan training to benefit you?" Okay. I started the Bujinkan way back in the late 80s. And during that time, I also had been doing boxing and kickboxing. I did some judo and jiu-jitsu. Um, I was a young guy and I was really just full of myself and wanted to prove myself and loved the challenge and the danger and I was very competitive. Um, and so I was very interested in martial arts at that time. And yeah, I of course I was caught up in a lot of the 80s martial arts movies that came out. I loved all of them. But also I got into all kinds of different arts and I was training with a lot of different people and it was really fun and I did learn a lot about myself and I developed some skills and just really just went headlong into it, training every day and for hours on end and had some great teachers and was really serious about what I was doing. And I even competed for like 15 years, almost 16 years in fully armored European medieval fighting, like not demonstration stuff, but actual like full contact, beat the crap out of each other in armor type of fighting. So I just had this real hunger for that, just to prove myself. And it was during that time that I then found the Bujinkan, and I found that to be extremely fascinating because it was so different than everything else that I had done, that I dove headlong into that, and I've been doing that ever since. Uh, and so through my experiences in my different careers, I've been a soldier. I've been a deputy sheriff. I've security, loss prevention manager, all kinds of different occupations involving a variety of different dangerous situations and dangerous people. And I've been stabbed and pepper sprayed, and I mean, crazy experiences. And all of those different occupations also had its own training as well. And combined with my martial arts training, um, that made me very well rounded as far as my perspectives go. Um, and of course, enjoying the vigor of being younger and stronger and everything else. Well, now being in my mid 50s, I'm older. Um, but there are certain things, there are certain realities that I really see now that maybe I didn't quite know back then, but I really understand now. And so when I look at the people who criticize the Bujinkan, I have to compare their life experiences, just like my life experiences were used as my perspectives. Who are these guys? What is their life perspective? What age category are they in? What's their typical, um, what do they find important and things like that? So as far as the Bujinkan goes, the one thing that I really learned about in the Bujinkan is that it's so diverse that it almost becomes just this complete transformation of how to approach everyday life, not just dealing with somebody in a violent situation, but It's a whole life approach. And so when somebody asks me, is Bujinkan effective? Effective for what? Is it effective for going into an MMA ring and fighting somebody? As a system, I would say no. I would say no, because it's not specialized for that. It's not training you for that. There's a whole great specialized training program that develops you to be able to win tournaments. Why would you want to train in this to do that when you can do that? When I was in karate, I reached a point where we would spend most of our class time practicing these kata and forms and stuff, but then the whole last part of the class was sparring. And all sparring was kickboxing. And they would go to tournaments and then they would talk about the trophies you could win and everything. But it was kickboxing. And I had already been in kickboxing. And I thought, why would I want to do this if the emphasis is on the tournaments? Why not just be a good kickboxer and then just do that, specialize in kickboxing, because that's all you're doing in that situation. And so that's just an example of where if your end goal is this, and there's a path to training that's going to get you there, why would you want to do something else that's not going to get you there? So is the Bujinkan effective? Effective for what? Is it effective for the ring? I would say as a system, no. There are more effective ways to get that result. Is the Bujinkan effective for real violence? There's a difference. I'm going to say yes, because of its adaptiveness and the fact that through the training, it's not specialized. It's a broad-based approach to dealing with situations through different techniques that allow you to adapt to the ever fluidness of the situation. The things that are emphasized, as far as my experience goes, in the Bujinkan training have more to do with being able to move effectively, being able to control your balance in a situation, having the flexibility and the ability to adapt, to keep going, all these things through the dynamic of an ever fluid exchange or situation, to me makes that effective. If all I know is this one-on-one fighting with somebody and there's a set of rules and I work within that rules and I'm engaged, I'm going to be very limited in my approach to the dynamics of a bigger situation where I could be dealing with so many different possibilities from multiple attackers, environmental situations. Maybe I'm in a dangerous area. Maybe there's tables and chairs. There could be traffic coming by. There could be slippery ground. There could be clothing restrictions, different kinds of clothing I could have on. There could be weapons involved that I may not even know about. So many different situations, even just what leads up to that. The grooming in an asocial violence situation where there's a grooming process, a predatory process or a grooming process to set up the situation where you're the target or somebody you care about or you're with is the target, and knowing, kind of having that sense of things and being able to control, to get out of that situation or to take the initiative to stop that situation from happening. Or in a social violence situation where you have groups that are yelling at each other and it's just escalating, or one-on-one where they're escalating and you can see that it's doing this, or maybe you're getting sucked into something like that, or your buddy is getting sucked into something like that, and how to be able to de-escalate or remove from that situation. There's so much that comes from the Bujinkan that deals with that stuff, because the Bujinkan itself comes from a very messy, dangerous, bloody time period in Japanese history where people really died. People really were seriously hurt. They blades and all kinds of just horribleness that happened in battlefields. There were murders and kidnappings and just all this just crazy, horrible violence. That makes up the foundation or the beginning of the art that we train in the Bujinkan. Whereas modern arts don't have that. They may have drawn from some of that, but they don't have that background. So that mindset is not there where it is in here. If it's learned properly, if it's trained properly with the right people, that transfers in that mindset of that perspective of real violence is there. Um, so that to me is what makes the Bujinkan effective. And that's, in my opinion, why The Bujinkan draws so many people from all over the world that are in very high risk occupations, dangerous occupations, or living in dangerous parts of the world where life and death really is an everyday experience. And and so for them, that training really matters because they really are coming from that place of trying to use the training to protect life. And when you're talking about living in a relatively peaceful modern society where the most danger that we experience in our day-to-day life is the way we treat ourselves, or for some of us, it could be our drive to and from work every day, that the odds of being in a violent situation are very minimal, especially an asocial violent situation, very minimal. Social violence, we can control that by just shutting up and getting out, but for the most part. But we live in relatively peaceful societies, so the we look at sport competition as kind of the that becomes kind of our test of something. Um, but you talk to somebody who has really seriously dangerous occupations, they're going to have a whole different mindset. To them, they don't want to die, or they don't want a family member or a friend or whatever to die or be hurt. So they train for that. So for them, they come to the Bujinkan. People come to train in what we do because they understand the significance of that. There's a reason that they do that. They see it as effective. So I could take the opinion of somebody whose knowledge base is limited to just a sporting competition mindset and weigh that against somebody whose mindset or perspective comes from real life and death danger. Who do you think I'm going to choose? Now, that's not saying that this guy doesn't also train in that. But there's a reason he has picked the Bujinkan, either as his sole martial art or as a addition to maybe something else that he's training in. There's a reason he's picked that. So is it effective? Yes. Effective for what? It's effective for life. It's effective for real life. It's not effective for this bubble of chest thumping, ego driven, dominant seeking violence that you see between young males out in the bar scenes and that sort of stuff. That's that's not what it's for, to directly engage that. It's definitely for keeping you out of that, but that's not it. It's not made for the cage. That's not what it is. It's something else. It's made for what happens outside the cage. It's made for keeping you alive to be able to get in the cage. That, in my opinion, is what the Bujinkan is. And the Bujinkan itself has such a wide variety of teachers, wide variety of schools and training methodologies that to make a conclusion on just a very, very limited view of a few videos, maybe some articles or whatever, or even visiting one school to make an opinion about the entire art or organization based on that is also unfair because of this art, because this art has so much variety to it. That really, if you have an honest, truth-seeking purpose, wanting to really understand what this art is, you've got to really get out there and experience it. Get around the people that train in this art, experience the different teachers, the different schools, the different training methodologies, see why they train this way. What is it that they're actually training in and why they train that way? How's their approach to this art? And start to formulate your own conclusions based on your own personal experience, not the personal experience of other people, your own. And even if you are fortunate enough or committed enough and you go to Japan and you train with those, understand that the soke, our grandmaster, and even our senior teachers are teaching the art, they're presenting the art a certain way for a certain reason. It's not always just about fighting. It's going to be about other types of purposes too. So you have to consider that perspective as well. Um, but again, I encourage you, if you're critical about this art, really give it a good exploration. Stop watching YouTube videos, go meet the people, because martial arts are things. They are things. It's just a inanimate thing. It's a body of knowledge, a set of skills, some teachings and wisdom and stuff, but it's a thing. What makes an art really alive is the person. It's the people. It's the people who train in it, how they train, why they train, and how they apply it to their lives. Those are the people that represent what this art is. Explore that. Explore that. And if you do that, you're going to start to understand the value. You should. If you don't, well, then maybe you're missing something. Or maybe this is just a different thing because you have your own perspective. You have your own purpose of what you think a martial art should be or what you want from a martial art. That's your purpose. And if this doesn't fit that, that's okay. But it doesn't mean that it's not effective. It just means it's not effective for you and what you want. So go live your life and do what you want to do and be happy. And the people who really like this art and love this art and find value in this art and it's effective for them and what they do in their life, they're going to continue to do the same. Your opinion doesn't matter. So that's my thoughts on this. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something from it. And really, honestly, people need to stop pointing fingers at each other and just get back to training and what they enjoy. And if they truly have an honest interest or curiosity in the Bujinkan or in anything else, then it's up to them to go and experience that for themselves and give it the due respect that it deserves by actually firsthand experiencing it, not just looking up YouTube videos or reading a few articles and think now you understand it. Um, that to me is a very shallow, ignorant approach toward trying to make a conclusion. So anyway, thanks for watching, and as I always say, stay happy, stay healthy, and no matter what, keep training.